Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about income taxation. And of course, as future entrepreneurs, understanding taxes is essential because it directly affects how you manage your business finances. So first, let us define what is income tax. An income tax is a national tax imposed on the net or the gross income realized in a taxable year. It is a tax on all yearly profits arising from property, profession, trade, or business, or a tax on a person's income, emoluments, profits, and the like. So pag sinabi nating income tax, hindi lang siya imposed on salaries. As mentioned here, all income, including earnings from property, profession, or business, may be subjected to income tax. So for the application of income tax, just think of it this way. If you don't earn money, you don't have to pay income tax. So the tax only applies when you actually receive income. But take note also that not all money that comes in is considered income for tax purposes. Now it says here that income tax is imposed on the net or the gross income realized. Now, what do you mean by gross income? So a gross income refers to all income derived from whatever source, and that is according to Section 32A of the NIRC. So gross income is the total earnings a person or business receives before subtracting any expenses, taxes, or deductions. So the word gross in its plain and ordinary meaning is defined as whole, entire, total, without deduction. So gross is the opposite of net. Now don't get confused. Under the NIRC, the term taxable income refers to a certain items of gross income, less deductions and personal exemptions allowable by law. Meaning hindi yung buong gross income yung subject to tax, but only a certain item of gross income. So to better understand this, let's have this scenario. Yeah, so Maria earned 500,000 as income from her beauty parlor and received 250,000 as a Christmas gift from her aunt. So she spent 150,000 for the operation of her beauty parlor. Now, for tax purposes, how much is Maria's gross income? Okay, so the gross income would comprise only 500,000. So that's the income from her beauty parlor. So it is a gross income derived from the conduct of her trade or business. Now, why the 250,000 pesos should not form part of the gross income? Because it is a gift. So it is not a form of income. And under Section 32B, Paragraph 4, it must be excluded from her gross income. So from this example, how much will be subjected to income tax? Is it the entire 500,000 pesos? So again, as mentioned earlier, an income tax is imposed on the net or the gross income. So therefore, applying that concept in this scenario, the amount that will be subjected to income tax is 350,000 pesos, not the entire 500,000. Kasi nga, hindi pa siya yung net. So makukuha natin yung net after ma-deduct yung mga expenses and other allowable deductions. So in this case, 500,000 less 150,000 kasi yun yung kanyang expenses. So the result is 350,000 and that amount, yun yung masasubject for income tax. Now, let's find out what are the requisites of taxable income. So first, it is a return on capital that increases net worth. So take note, it is a return on capital. So there is a difference between return on capital and return of capital. Yeah, so para masabi natin na taxable yung income, kailangan yung income is a return on capital. Second, it is a realized benefit. So you must actually receive the money or the benefit for it to be taxable. So for example, if a client promises to pay you next year, but has not given you the money yet, so that money is not taxable yet. But once that money enters your bank account or is in your hands, then it becomes taxable. And lastly, it is not exempted by law, contract, or treaty. So some types of income are not taxable because the law says so. So the NIRC specifies the items that are excluded from gross income. So ito yan. So these are um, exclusions from gross income. So we have life insurance, amount received by insured as return of premium, gifts, bequests, and devices, compensation for injuries or sickness, income exempt under treaty, retirement benefits, pensions, gratuities, etc. So these are the exclusions from gross income according to NIRC. So again, for an income to be taxable, it must meet these three conditions. Okay. Now, let's identify who are the individual income earners. So there are kinds of individual earners. First is the self-employed. Okay, so when we say self-employed, it refers to a sole proprietor or an independent contractor who reports income earned from self-employment. So it includes those hired under a contract of service or job order and professionals whose income is derived purely from the practice of profession and not under an employer-employee relationship. So later on, kapag ititik nyo na yung labor law nyo na subject, so mas ma-emphasize doon yung what is an employee-employer or employer-employee relationship. Okay? So, next is professional. Yeah. So, sino ba itong mga professional? Mga professional earner refers to a person formally certified by a professional body. An example of that is the PRC, the Professional Regulatory Commission. So, certified siya. Okay? Si professional earner, kaya siya tinawag na professional kasi certified siya ng isang professional body belonging to a specific profession by virtue of having completed a required examination or course of studies and or practice whose competence can usually be measured against an established set of standards. So an example of professional earners, ito yung mga doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants. So they are professional because again, they studied, trained, and passed exams to prove their expertise. Next is mixed income earners. So ito naman yung mga individual earning compensation income from employment and income from business, practice of profession, and or other source aside from employment. So meaning to say, employed sila, okay? But at the same time, meron pa silang other source of income like meron silang pinut up, for example, a small business. So dalawa yung source of income nila or more. Okay? Bukod doon sa kanilang nare-receive na compensation from their employment, meron silang employer. At the same time, meron pa silang other income from their business or yung practice ng mga professions nila. Okay? Next, we also have compensation income earners. So ito naman yung mga individuals na ang kanilang source of income is purely derived from an employer-employee relationship. So, meron talaga siyang employer. Okay? And then lastly, the minimum wage earner. Yeah, so ito namang mga minimum wage earner, it refers to a worker in the private sector who is paid with a statutory minimum wage rate or to an employee in the public sector with compensation income of not more than the statutory minimum wage. So, ang example nito is yung mga yan, construction workers, mga factory workers in manufacturing, yung mga fast food crew members, mga janitors, and staff maintenance staff. Yan. So, sila yung mga example ng minimum wage earner. So minimum wage is set by law to ensure workers receive fair pay. So si employer cannot pay less than the minimum wage. Yeah, so these are the kinds of individual earner. Now let's proceed with the persons subject to income tax. Now, according to NIRC, the term person means individual, corporation, estates and trusts, and any other juridical entity. Okay, so hindi lang siya, no, yung person na tinutukoy natin dito, hindi siya yung literal or exclusive na person as in human being or individual. So when we say person, the legal definition niya it could be a natural person or a juridical person. Okay? So when we say juridical person, it refers to an entity with a legal personality separate from its members. That's why, for example, ang isang corporation, di ba, hindi naman talaga siya considered as person, no, na yung plain meaning, no, literal na meaning ng person. But legally, corporation is considered as a person. Kasi nga, it is an entity with legal personality separate from its members. So that's why ang isang corporation can enter into a contract. It can sue and be sued similar to a natural person. But for this course, we will just focus on these three, the individual, corporation, estates, and trust. So let's go over them one by one. So first is the taxability of individuals. Yeah, so the taxation of individuals depends on citizenship and residency. So for us to assess or determine whether an individual is subject to income tax, we have to assess their citizenship and residency. So first classification is the resident citizen. So pag sinabi nating resident citizen, it refers to a citizen of the Philippines, meaning to say, Filipino citizen siya, residing in the Philippines. So kapag resident citizen yung classification ng isang individual, take note, sabi dito, taxable siya on all income derived from sources within and without the Philippines. Okay? So just have to remember, resident citizens are Filipino citizens residing in the Philippines and lahat ng income niya ay subject to income tax. Another classification is the non-resident citizen. So, itong mga non-resident citizen, when it comes to income tax, taxable lang yung income nila derived from all sources within the Philippines. So, pag sinabi natin your non-resident citizen, these are Filipino citizens, but not residing in the Philippines, but rather they live abroad and they have no intention of returning to the Philippines permanently. Or yung mga Filipino working overseas for most of the year. So a very good example of non-resident citizens are the OFWs. So they are Filipino citizens pero not residing in the Philippines kasi nga most of the year nandun sila sa ibang bansa kasi nga dun sila nag-work and long term no yung pagstay nila doon sa ibang bansa. So take note na kapag non-resident citizen, they are only taxed on income earned from the Philippines. So yun yung difference nila when it comes to taxation, the difference between resident citizen and non-resident citizen. Now we also have resident alien. So sino naman tong mga resident alien? So resident alien is a foreigner, meaning hindi siya Filipino citizen, but is living in the Philippines. So, a person who stay or a foreigner who stay in the Philippines for an extended period, not just visiting, no, nandito siya not just to visit Philippines. They will fall under this classification as resident alien, or they live in the Philippines for work, business, or other long-term purposes, and they do not have a definite plan to leave the Philippines soon. So, yun yung mga resident alien natin. So, pagdating sa tax implication, so a resident alien is taxed only on income earned within the Philippines. Okay? Next is the non-resident alien engaged in trade or business. Okay, so pag sinabi nating non-resident alien, again, these are not Filipino citizens. These are foreigners, pero they are staying in the Philippines for more than 180 days in a taxable year. Pag sinabi nating taxable year, that's from January to December. Okay, so sabi dyan, yung mga non-resident alien engaged is mga foreigner to na nakastay sa Philippines or nandito sa Philippines for more than 180 days in a taxable year. So ang basis natin for us to be able to classify whether that individual is a non-resident alien engaged in trade or business is the number of days na nakastay siya dito sa Philippines in a taxable year. So pag more than 180 days, ito na yung classification niya. Okay? And yung 180 days na yon, not necessary na dire-diretso siya na 180 days in a taxable year. It could be aggregated. So meaning to say, basta in a taxable year, let's say from January to December, yung total number of days na nagstay siya sa Philippines ay more than 180 days. So if that is the case, then that individual will be classified as a non-resident alien engaged in trade or business. Now, when it comes to tax application, income tax, no? Yung mga non-resident alien engaged in trade or business are taxed on income earned from the Philippines. Okay? And lastly, we have the non-resident alien not engaged in trade or business. So, ang pinagkaiba nila, yung isa engaged, yung isa naman not engaged. So, yung mga non-resident alien not engaged in trade or business, ito naman yung mga foreigner who stays in the Philippines for less than 180 days in a year and does not operate a business or work in the country. So kapag pag less than 180 days in a year, so ito na, dito na magpo-fall yung kanyang classification. But of course, kung nag-earn siya ng income from Philippine sources, then yung income niya na yon ay magiging subjected pa rin siya sa income tax. So again, for both non-resident alien engaged or not engaged, only their Philippine sourced income is taxable. Okay, so that's for the taxability of individuals. Now let's proceed with corporations. So, syempre, yung mga businesses also need to pay taxes based on their classification. Okay, so first, under corporation, we have domestic corporation. So pag sinabi nating domestic corporation, these are corporations created or registered in the Philippines. So kapag domestic corporation yung classification niya, take note na ang mga domestic corporation is taxed on all income earned worldwide, meaning to say both in the Philippines and abroad. Okay, so kapag domestic corporation. We also have foreign corporation. So yung mga foreign corporation naman, these are corporations registered outside the Philippines but earns income from the country. So there are two types of foreign corporation. We have a resident foreign corporation. So when we say resident foreign corporation, these are foreign corporations actively doing business in the Philippines. So yung mga resident foreign corporation is taxed only on income from the Philippines. Now, we also have non-resident foreign corporation. So these are foreign corporations not engaged in business in the Philippines, but still earns income from the country. So same kay resident foreign corporation, it is only taxed on its Philippine income. We also have partnership. So when we say partnership, It is a type of business organization where two or more people come together to run a business and share profits, losses, and responsibilities. So unlike sole proprietorship, syempre sa sole proprietorship, there's only one person who owns the business, di ba? Pero dito sa partnership, this partnership involves a multiple owners who contribute money, skills, or other resources to make the business work. So generally, there are two types of partnership. So we have the trade partnership and the general professional partnership. So when we say trade partnership, this is a partnership engaged in trade or business. So pag dito nag-fall yung classification, okay, so um, yung tax implication nito is the same as corporation. So kaya sabi dyan, the tax treatment is the same as that of a corporation. Now, pag sinabi naman nating general professional partnership, okay, this is a partnership formed by persons for the sole purpose of exercising their common profession and no part of the income of which is derived from engaging in any trade or business. So if you can remember yung kaninang kinds of individual earners natin, di ba? Yung mga professional earners, sila yung mga individuals na kaya sila tinawag na professional kasi nga ito yung may mga license. So recognized by a professional regulating body. Okay, so kapag yung nag-form ng partnership na individual are actually professional, okay, meaning to say license sila. For example, nag-tie up yung dalawang lawyers and then nag-put up sila ng isang law firm. So they will fall under this classification, general professional partnership. And yung general professional partnership, when it comes to the application of income tax, hindi siya tinatax the same as trade partnership, no? Or hindi siya tinatax the same as that of a corporation. Rather, nag-a-apply yung income tax personally. So sa bawat members, no, yung income na na-earn nila from that partnership, that will be subjected to tax, personal income tax. While dito sa trade partnership, kaya sinabi dyan na, dahil sinabi dyan na the tax treatment is the same as that of a corporation. So meaning to say, hindi lang yung personal income yung tinatax ng partners, but rather the partnership itself, yung business na na-put up nilang dalawa. Okay, so that's the difference between trade partnership and general professional partnership when it comes to tax, income tax application. And then lastly, we have the joint venture. So a joint venture is a temporary business collaboration between two or more parties who come together for a specific project or business purpose. Take note, two or more parties, it could be a persons or a company, okay? Companies who join together, okay? Nag-collaborate sila for a specific project or business purpose. So unlike regular businesses, joint ventures are not meant to last forever and usually end once their goal is achieved. Now, the tax treatment of a joint venture depends on the nature of business. Right. So yung difference between partnership and joint venture is that sa joint venture, temporary business collaboration lang siya. And again, once the project is completed, the joint venture ends unless the parties decide to continue their collaboration. While in partnership, partnership is a long-term business relationship between two or more individuals who share profits, losses, and management responsibilities. So unlike a joint venture, partnership is meant to last indefinitely. Yeah. So yun naman yung sa corporation. Now, let's move on to estate and trust. So pag sinabi nating estate, yan, an estate is created by operation of law when an individual dies, leaving properties to his compulsory or other heirs. So an estate refers to the total property, assets, and money left behind when a person passes away. For example, kung si Lolo namatay siya at meron siyang mga ari-arian, so lahat ng mga property niya na yon, yung assets na yun, yung pera na naiwan niya, yun yung tinatawag natin na estate. Okay? So once na pumanaw na yung original owner ng mga property na yon, ng assets and money, ang tawag doon ay estate. So these assets automatically become part of the estate and are eventually distributed to the heirs. Okay? So yun yung estate. Now, pag sinabi naman natin trust is a legal arrangement. Okay? So dito, yung property or kung ano man yung kung pera man yan. So parang na in-entrust mo, no? Yung nag-entrust as compared to estate dito, buhay pa yung owner ng property. Okay, so a trust is a legal arrangement where a person, okay, so yung person na nag-transfer ng property, siya yung tinatawag na trustor. Siya yung owner, okay, nung property, for example. So, transfer niya yung property to another person. Okay, ang tawag dun sa pinag-transferan niya ay trustee. And then si trustee, okay, siya yung nagmamanage nung property na in-entrust ni trustor for the benefit of someone else, which is the beneficiary. So sa trust, mayroong tatlong character. So we have the trustor, who transfers the property. And then we have the trustee, siya yung pinaglipatan ng property at siya yung nagmamanage ng property na yon for the benefit of the beneficiary. So the trust controls the assets based on specific instructions given by the original owner. Now for its tax implication, take note that any income earned from an estate or trust is taxed the same way as an individual's income. So kung yung mga property na yan, nag-generate yan ng income, it will be subjected to income tax. So bago makuha ni heir or ni beneficiary, bago niya ma-receive yung pera, for example, from an estate or trust, dapat mabayaran mo na yung mga tax based on income generated from those assets. So I think that ends. Okay, so to conclude our discussion on income tax, so remember this criteria in imposing income tax. So we have the citizenship rule. So again, depending on the category where does an individual falls, we can assess whether income tax will be applicable or not. And take note that Filipino citizens residing in the Philippines is taxable to all its income within and without the Philippines. Then we also have the residence principle. So meaning it doesn't matter whether you are a Filipino citizen. If you are residing in the Philippines, then all your income derived within the Philippines is subjected to tax. And lastly, the source principle. So the source principle, you just have to remember that all income derived within the Philippines, okay? Yung source ng income ay galing sa Pilipinas. So pag yun yung kanyang if we are going to base yung income based dun sa source at yun ay within the Philippines, na derive yung income within the Philippines, then it will be subjected to income tax as well. Okay, so I think that ends my presentation on income tax. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead.